Maximizing hive survival with fall equalizing. I just transferred these 12 hives into single deeps. Some of them are 10 frames strong and others are 5 frames strong. I need to equalize them by moving awesome frames of brood like this from the large ones to the small ones. That way they'll all be massive like this in springtime. So some people hope for a good fall nectar flow. And looks like we got one this year. It's just raining absolute nectar. So I thought I was going to be taking frames of brood and giving it to this colony, because I just added them to this box about a week ago. But I don't think I'm going to take any brood, but they're really, really strong. They're on the verge of what I would say is extra strength. I mean, they're really, really strong hive. They're not using about 2 frames. So I'm gonna checkerboard those frames into the middle of the nest and see if I can get them to draw them out before winter time. And if they don't, then that's okay. I'll just move them back out and get them drawn next spring. But we got our queen right here in the corner. She's playing cat and mouse here. I don't want to drop her on the ground, but oh shoot. There she is. She keeps going through, but she's there. Wow. So I'd say in total, this hive has 6.5 frames of brood. This frame's full of pollen and eggs. Or sorry, pollen and nectar. I bet you it shakes straight out. That one didn't shake as much, but I'd say 6 frames of brood. They're just fine for now. I'm gonna close them up. I don't think I'm gonna pull anything from them or give anything to them. I think they're right where I want them. So this hive is looking pretty good. Got plenty of eggs, larvae, and capped brood here. But I've got some super strong ones that are 10 frames of bees. I'm gonna go into those and steal some brood, because these look good, but those look even better. Here's our queen. Another great frame of brood right here. So they have part of 6 frames of brood, and look at that comb. They are firing on all cylinders. I don't think I fed this one. I mean, that is straight goldenrod nectar, and the pollen's making it that color. Awesome stuff. And it's full of eggs as well. They have about 6 frames of brood, and then I'm gonna checkerboard some frames into the middle of their brood nest to make even more drawn comb. So yeah, you could say this is a pretty strong hive. And I mean, for one that I transferred a week ago that was a nuke, pretty dang good. This is all completely new wax that the bees have made in the last week. And you can see where they've been getting that orange comb. Look at all that orange goldenrod pollen. It's really coming in well here. And they're even starting this side of the frame. This is completely new wax, full of larvae and eggs, all that they've made in the last week. I mean, this is just, or not last week, but last like 10 days. It's just awesome to see. Let me know in the comments down below whether you get a fall flow or not. Here it's really hit or miss, but as you can see from this brood pattern and all this honey, it's definitely a hit so far this year. We're about to have a couple bad days of weather, so it may go downhill. So I'm gonna take this awesome frame of capped brood and go give it to one of my other weak hives that need it. They're already pre-waxed, but I like to get, you know, I have this piece of wax. So I've been putting more wax on it. And I've just found that that really helps encourage the bees to draw it out even during this time of year. In late August, they don't really want to draw comb nearly as much. So the hive has 6 frames of brood now that I've taken away 1. And even though they only have 6 frames of brood, they have a lot more bees than all the other hives. So I don't really feel like there's any issue leaving them with 6 frames of brood. And what I'm going to do is take this foundation and speed up the process of them drawing it. I'm going to put a little wax on it and then rub some wax on it and then put it in the center of the brood nest, turn some frames around just to make sure they get all 10 frames done before winter time, so they'll be ready for next spring. First frame already has brood, and if you look real closely here, see this bee has a white dot on its head. That's from the jewelweed plant. I'll put it on screen. The jewelweed, as the bee leaves the flower, puts a little pollen on their head, so you know they're getting jewelweed pollen. But this is probably just, when I transferred them, I probably gave them some extra brood, and this is probably part of it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Right here, you can see kind of the cells poking through. I think that they're recapping because they're looking for mites. I have a feeling that might be it. It could be something else. I don't really see it on this side of the frame as much, but I don't know. I think they're doing something cool here. But this hive's queen right, I see some eggs right in here. I've had this frame for a long time and it's a piece of crap. Garbage. I'm gonna get it out of the hive at some point. Fine, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But there's some brood on both sides, and they're bringing in quite a bit of nectar, which is a good sign. I don't need to feed this hive, not for now at least. Got a really, really good brood pattern here. They're just starting to cap it. I mean, the queen's doing a terrific job. Right here, you can tell that they're on the goldenrod because look how light and golden those cappings are. I think they just made that comb and capped it with goldenrod wax. So I don't see the queen yet, but bees weren't on a flow this morning, but now they definitely are. They're really calm. And I bet you nectar's shaking too. Yep, shaking right out. Got our big, beautiful queen right there. I'm gonna go mark her because I want to get all my queens marked before winter. The queen is now marked and isolated, so I'm gonna take this frame of brood with the bees on it. That way the other hive will get more bees now and, you know, in the future with hatching bees. The nectar is just pouring into the hive. I think it's definitely some goldenrod, but I think that it's probably some from the jewelweed. I'm seeing a lot of bees with pollen, and jewelweed does make honey as well. So there's plenty of larvae and eggs in here. This hive just looks great, full of more eggs, hatching brood. I'm really, really happy with everything I'm seeing. It's been 13 days since I last looked into this hive. Okay, they haven't finished this frame. They've got eggs in here, working well. I mean, this hive is still doing really well, even though I took a lot from it. Look at that brood. This is one of the frames that I gave them to draw it out. And they did do something, but I'm probably gonna move it to the outside of the hive before winter so this doesn't disrupt their, you know, good part of their cluster that's drawn out. Same thing here. Probably come back in about 2 weeks, and I'm almost certain they won't have drawn it out. So I'll scoot these frames to the outside of the hive, but I mean, look at those eggs. So they definitely worked on them, they just didn't get to finish them. But this is a hive that I could have probably taken a lot more brood from. They already were doing quite well. They still are. This is one of the hives that I equalized, and obviously they've done pretty well. Probably the same thing, they didn't draw out some of the ones in the middle, but they should be fine, and I've got some extra nucs like this that I can plug in some of the brood, and I think I'm gonna sell like 2 or 3 queens that are left in those nucs. So another one of the ones that I equalized into, looking really good. Haven't found a bad one yet. Everybody seems to be progressing pretty well. Like I said, there will be undrawn frames in a lot of these, just due to the fact that I checkerboarded into the middle, and then we got pretty much nothing for a fall flow. I guarantee they would have finished it if we'd gotten a fall flow, but we didn't. But nonetheless, very, very pleased. I mean, look at those bees. I think I did pretty well on the equalizing front here. This one probably is the worst looking one, but it's no real big deal because I got some nucs, and I'll just sell off the queen or use her somewhere else and drop in another 2 or 3 frames of brood. I got some really good looking nucs that are really doing quite well. I might even sell one of them as a nuc on their own if somebody wants it, just to plug into an existing hive. They smell really good. They're working hard. I think they have a lot of brood. Now it's my job as the beekeeper to get them all fed up before winter. But I think barring, you know, that one right there that's a little weak, most of the other ones are looking really good. There's another one. Doesn't look like they're working quite all their frames, but still pretty strong. This is one of the weaker ones, and I'd say it's still on the weak side, so I'll probably drop a frame or 2 of brood into that one as well. Likewise with this one. So I'd say I had 3 ones that were mild failures that need another frame or 2 of brood, but by and large, it was a pretty big success, I think. I think Once I add the 6 frames of brood or so to the 3 bad ones, 2 each, then I think that we're going to be in really, really good shape for winter. And I have a strong feeling that these might be some of my strongest hives next spring. I had 28 colonies here, and then all those over there are my boss's hives. But I got 28, and might send them down south. I'm not really sure, but they still have to get through winter there and be strong. Otherwise, they'll be robbed out down south because there's not a lot of food for a while. So they have to be really strong either way.
Now that you've seen me equalize these hives, check out this video to see how strong they were when I transferred them.